Hello, my name is Miss Harkup and welcome to English Language and Literature. Okay, so this course is run through Pearson EdXL, our exam board, which is different to the exam board we use for GCSE, which is AQA. I've outlined some of the topics that you will be studying in Year 12 and Year 13. So in Year 12, it's very much the first term is focusing on getting that transition from GCSE and writing at GCSE level to giving you the confidence to be able to write at A level. And we start that with an introductory unit, which you won't be examined on. So you'll have a unit where you get to develop your knowledge of key terms, particularly linguistic terms that you may not have covered at GCSE. And we also look at different narrative styles, and that's quite a fun way to get into the course. We start with short stories and articles, and you get exposed to a wide range of material that you wouldn't necessarily have had the opportunity to look at GCSE, and hopefully you'll find the material inspiring to go off and complete some wider reading, because what we want to try to foster from the very start is for you to enjoy reading and read for pleasure and not feel like it's a chore that you've got to do for homework. So we do try to point you in the right direction in topics and texts that are going to interest you. So that's the initial part. And then as we approach the first half term, then we do start to focus on the actual content which will be examined. So in Year 12, you will study 2 texts, and the texts will be examined together as a comparative essay, but we study the texts individually for their own sake, and then later on, when you're in Year 13, you'll develop those comparative skills. Currently, we are reading The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald, and we are also reading a play called A Raisin in the Sun, and they do compare nicely. They're both American texts. They were written in the early-ish part of the 20th century, and they share a lot of common themes. So that's what you'd be looking at before Christmas. And then after Christmas, we go to non-fiction. And I think this is really one of the key differences. A lot of people do say, what's the difference between English language and English literature? And one of them is that you do get to look at non-fiction texts. So you'd look at diary entries, articles, speeches. It's all part of an anthology, so you get given that for free. And you look at the genre of that in a non-fiction sense. You look at the purpose, and we consider how those articles vary and how they create voice, because in the exam you will compare one of those texts that you'll be very familiar with to an unseen one that's related to it. And then at the end of Year 12, this is when we start to prepare you for coursework, because you will really, by this point, need to be quite familiar and in a routine of wider reading. And you should sort of know what styles you're interested in, what books you're interested in. You'll be supported throughout Year 12 to get you to that point, to make those independent choices wisely. And then you will go off and you will prepare over the summer. So we do a mini coursework project at the end of Year 12 to prepare you for Year 13. And then when you come back Year 13, you will study. At the moment, the students are studying All My Sons. In the past, we've looked at The History Boys, but it's a shortish play that you'll study and you'll be examined on. And then we also look back at Unseen Prose to keep your non-fiction skills and understanding up to date. Okay, now moving on to the assessments. So I've sort of covered some of that when going through the topics that you will study. So here is just an overview. You can see that you'll sit 2 exams. There'll be a section A and a section B in each exam, and the total marks for each paper is 50 marks. You'll have lots of opportunities to prepare, and it's not all going to be a case of doing lots of exam style questions, but you'll be prepared in what's going to be expected of you, and how to write to get the most marks. You'll also complete your coursework. That's 20%. So the exams are 80% in total, but the coursework is 20%. What do you need then? What skills and qualities do you need to study this subject? Well, strong essay writing skills, um, or a willingness to want to develop your skills. So think about, where you're currently at when you're writing. It doesn't just have to be your English literature essays or your English language question responses. Think about if you're doing a humanities subject, for instance, or your extended responses in science. So there will be quite a lot of writing, and I think that's something that you should want to develop and enjoy. An enjoyment of reading for pleasure, because we don't want you to think that this is a chore. We want you to encourage us as well and share your recommendations. It's got to be a very supportive environment within the classroom. So you will be expected to complete wider reading, and again, we support you with that. You'll have a journal, so that you can understand a range of texts before you look at preparing for your coursework and for the exam. And an interest in creative writing, because I think this is what really makes this course so interesting, that you get to produce your own piece of fiction and non-fiction. Now, just put some student work and testimonials here. We do try to make it as fun as we can. It might be a little bit of going out of your comfort zone, but we don't want people to feel too uncomfortable. But there is going to be an element of maybe doing some drama in there as well. But again, it's a friendly, supportive environment, and it's very respectful too. We like to give you the opportunity to be the teacher and present your work as a mini lesson, and the opportunity to rewrite some famous pieces of literature. So this is in addition to all of the essays. We do try to vary it because it's a very creative subject as well as being an analytical one. In terms of careers, so we've had lots of people actually going off to study English at university, also drama as well. And you can see here that script writing is a career that one of our former students is taking part in now. But the skills that you develop can be used for obviously journalism, but advertising, lots of web-based professions and careers. And even sort of going further on, it will be a good grounding if you want to study law or politics at university. It's very universal. Okay, some frequently asked questions here. We always get asked, do we study them separately like we do at GCSE? No, it's one A level. You look at the literature text and the non-fiction text. And the reason why it's called English Literature and Language is because we're looking at the literary methods as well as the linguistic methods, and that's something that it's a very good skill to be able to develop your knowledge of language from a linguistic perspective. Will we get to see the play being performed, or will we get to see plays being performed? We have taken trips of students to go and watch plays in the past. Obviously, there's been a few barriers recently, but that is something that we do look to do and to achieve. So hopefully we will have opportunities, and if not, we'll hopefully have opportunities for troops to come into the school. In terms of homework, so we'll set you tasks which support you to develop your wider reading at the beginning of year 12. And then towards the autumn term, as that approaches, as we get towards Christmas, you will start doing more essay-based questions for homework. But we try to vary it so that sometimes you might be revising for a quiz. Don't want to bombard you so that you're writing every week, because the enjoyment and the wider reading is very important to this course. Okay, so if you've got any questions, then do get in touch with us. Our email addresses are here. Thank you. Thank you for watching. I hope I do hear from some of you again. If you've got any questions, then please do email, or if you see us around the school, feel free to ask us questions. Thank you very much.